Hi, babe. I have been in such a interesting experience over the past few weeks. Um, Today, I am spending my last day in Sweden before I start driving. I'm driving south in my tiny camper, and I'm gonna be driving to the UK for a training and a meeting with a shaman from Peru, and I am incredibly excited. And, you know, over the past few weeks, I've come full circle in my experience. You know, I have been so passionate about spiritual understanding, understanding this experience, this life, this world. Uh, I think it's something that I have been exploring for as long as I can remember. I've been wanting to understand what it is that is going on here. And when I first had the experience of the non-dual integration, as I like to call it, as the shift in identity from an integration of the shift in identity from separate self into oneness. I had this experience of like when that integration happened, there was this very undoubtable experience of, right, this is what I was looking for. It was, some of us have this very, very strong call to searching, right? And that search, I was looking for the truth. I was looking for that thing that was like in all the spiritual traditions and religions. And I was like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And I was exploring all of these different traditions and um, practices and laws, and found that incredibly exciting, incredibly interesting to the mind. But every time I got to the core of it, I was like, this is not really it. There's something still missing here, and I was like, unpacking. And then with the non-dual integration, the really main thing that happened was that I was like, oh, it was me. I was looking for me. The like that experience, this experience that is so close, that is the one thing that isn't separate, that is right here, all the time. And I was looking for it in this mental way, right? I was looking for it as like, how do I understand this, right? But you don't understand it, you experience it. And so when that integration happened, from one moment to the next, it was like, this is what I was looking for. I found it. I'm done. It's complete. And for, a few years now, I've been in that place of being with the non-dual experience, being with what is. And And like the beautiful thing is that like I realized that although I haven't been searching anymore, I am one part, one perspective of this whole wide, big thing. And although in a sense there is no journey, I am still experiencing a journey. I am still experiencing a being. And the unfolding of this being, the unfolding of all of the learnings and the sheer joy of being, being life, experience being life, it's like, and where that has brought me is full circle back to where I was when I just had my first awakening that we might more call a Kundalini rising or something, can call it whatever. But this very intense, blissful shift that truly brought me into the heart. And I feel like I have come full circle after doing all of these deep explorations into myself, because that is the thing that I really, really experientially remembered over these past few weeks. Like it's dropped in this, the integration of the two. So it's like, first there was this realization that Emma is not all there is. There is also the divine. That was like my first awakening. Then I had years of healing and, healing, studying, exploring, until I came into the non-dual, and there was this like, boom, there is no Emma. There is only this. There is only being. And then now there has been this, almost like these two awakenings. It was almost like the feminine awakening and then the masculine awakening, because the first awakening it was like embodied. It was in my heart. It was, feeling, moving, creating. And with the non-dual, it was like nothing matters. Everything just went, whoa. Everything is meaningless in the most beautiful way. But then over time, for me, it really, really dropped in more and more. And I fought myself on this many times, where I felt the humanness calling, the humanness going, yes, sure, there is nothing here and everything is here, you are still human, And then over time, that turned into the full embrace. We went in a few circles. I went in a few circles with that. The darkness, the pain, the grittiness of humanity. And every time I came to the point where I was like, I can't exclude anything. If I'm excluding something, I am making the separation. I am creating the separation by choice, by not accepting, by thinking this shouldn't, like this should be and this shouldn't be. That is duality within itself. The only way is to accept. And I like to say, everything goes. Everything goes. And integrating the non-dual into the dual and seeing the totality, the complete non-dual experience within the dual experience. I never make an assumption to know, but it feels like that, this is the liberation. To truly feel within the physical body, within the apparent separateness, the lack of separateness. And the wonderful thing about this is that everything becomes so fucking simple. And this is what I came back to as well, because I'm like, I know the teachers that I spoke to years ago were saying, happiness. Like, happiness is all there is. Follow your happiness, follow your excitement. And we speak about this in so many different, spiritual, I don't know, arenas. But truly, it really is that simple. There is nothing that is more important than living life and following our happiness, following our excitement, and being in this beautiful interplay, this dance with life. All of this is so incredibly fucking magical, just the way it is right now. And life is showing us the way because we are life, right? And this is why, it's like following your intuition is just another way. Like it's like a breadcrumb of the full spectrum of seeing it. Because when we follow our intuition, we're literally following the voice of life within us, which is the one that knows, which is not even, our intuition, our guidance is life living through us. We have the choice to listen or not to listen. But when we listen to our intuition, and this is, what so many people, of course, have learned and been like, oh my gosh, ooh, look, when I follow my intuition, wow, see what happens, wow. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Magical. Life is so magical. Yes, of course, it's magical. Life already, like, life is, you are life. You are everything. Of course, when you're following with that beautiful freaking like movement of the life that you are, of course it's gonna feel amazing because you are literally in tune with everything that exists, from here to fucking infinity. Of course it's gonna feel amazing. And this is what we're supposed to do. And as we know the truth of what we are, as we can experience this direct experience of oneness, of completeness with the this juicy, beautiful physical experience. Completely lost what I was saying. Mm. As we live it, we are life itself. We're, and you know, when we feel this, we can know the unseriousness of all of it. We're not so attached to the physical expression and all of the things that it believes it wants to do in order to chase success, in order to chase whatever it is that you believe you need in order to be good enough. When we remove that conditioning, when we remove the conditioning of I need to be a certain way, I need to do a certain thing, I need to accomplish this, I need to, all of that is your blindness to the amazing, glittering, glowing ball of beautiful light that you actually are, that you uniquely are, and that you are supposed to express here and now in your fullest, most free expression. That's what you're here for, no matter what that is, no matter what that looks like. Yeah. Let me know if you have any thoughts, any questions, anything. Talk to me. Share this video, like this video, subscribe to my channel. I feel so on purpose. And then sometimes I'm like, why am I doing this? Am I doing it for validation? But every time I check back in, there's truly, honestly, I think that rather I continue to try and talk myself out of doing YouTube videos, because I'm like, there's actually this part of me that, like, this conditioning in the back of the mind is like, no one wants to hear what you've got to say. Babe, that's not true. um So rather than, like, I think I'm hiding behind this, like, oh, am I seeking validation? Should I really be doing this? Is it ethical? Is it ethical? Ethical. I honestly think that's a mind mask trying to hide the true fact that I'm like, no one gives a shit about you. Oh, and I am sharing this as a I do feel like sometimes I need to, like, caveat when I share things that I witness in my mind, because to me that's not like a deep thing, it's not like oh my god, oh, And that's, that's my whole point. We have these human experiences, and the whole thing is that, like, we can see this all of this play out, and we can be not so attached, not so moved by it, not so, and that's another topic for another time, but that's literally why I speak on these things, because to me, this is the whole point of being alive. And if we don't see the full picture, and we're not in the liberated state that we're supposed to be in, we continue to undo all of this conditioning. Continue, and we continue, and we continue. And that is the collective awakening of humanity, to undo all of this conditioning. So all of these, like, little thoughts, they can be like, they speak to me, and it's interesting to witness them. It's interesting to see, like, oh, that thought was back there. Huh. Because once it's seen, it's like, right, well, it's interesting that you have been guiding my experience without me knowing. And that is really what we're experiencing here. If we're not aware, we have a ton of unconscious thoughts that define our reality. And we liberate ourselves by seeing, learning to witness our thoughts, learning to see that the thoughts is not me, right? We shift, we move the center of identity into the heart, into the one being, into the truth of what we are. And then the thoughts that have been appearing as to be like what we are, our true self, we can actually see them for what they are. And we don't need to judge them. We don't need to be so upset about them. They are literally what they are, and we are anchored in our center, which means that when they arise, even if they're uncomfortable, even if they're painful, even if they're mean, we have a different space from which to relate to them. And then we literally shift over time as we continue to come back and look and see our thoughts, our emotions, our patterns from this space of open awareness and love. And I'm not saying love as like, oh, I'm loving this thing. Love in your fucking heart, in your heart. It's not love as a concept. It's not a concept. It is what you are. It is the center of your being. So as you're relating to your experience, all of the content of experience through the lens of the love that you are, you have a different anchor. So the content of experience doesn't change. It's not different. You look without the filters, and that is what is the difference. All right. Thank you. Merci.